welcome to our last episode of Off Market for the year. Now, each fortnight we've been summarising what we've been seeing in the market for the last fortnight, but today, our last episode of the year, we're going to look back at the whole year and we're going to look forward to 2020 and a brand new decade. Guys, welcome to our last episode.
Thank you, Jess. Looking
not
very...
last episode, for the year.
For the year, not last episode, unless there's something you haven't told us, Shane.
No.
We've been replaced.
Like Stevie Jacobs.
Yeah,
gone.
Mate, gone. This is the world of television. Today you're here, tomorrow you're dead.
We'll have Carl here next
Yeah.
If you guys...
And Eddie. Eddie everywhere. Sorry. It's just when you got
Keep it
that
going
when you
and
got that hat on, how can we take it seriously, mate? Sorry.
all right. Well,
Theo, this is how we roll around here.
Roscoe.
Yes.
We're rolling into it. I was going to ask you about your Christmas shopping, but you've carried on again.
I haven't started.
Tell me about your Under the Hammer, because is it quiet? Is it quiet out there?
Yes.
Do people auction before Christmas?
Of course, people auction every day of the week. This is no. We were auctioning up until the weekend.
This weekend coming?
Last weekend.
Okay.
So pretty much wound up now. But and I did some stats last night, benchmark this year on last year, all but identical as far as results go. The only difference is we saw an increase of about 8% with property sold prior to auction.
Okay.
And that all came out in the last sort of 3 or 4 months. Mm-hmm. So that was really interesting.
What does that indicate?
It indicates obviously people there's a lot of active buyers and people are just really keen to secure the property because there's more and more pressure on that property with extra buyers. So they're prepared to pay a premium to remove that property from the market and not have any more pressure from other buyers. So there's been some fabulous results in that. In one in particular, there was one in Mandurah that was scheduled to go to auction on Sunday with Jonathan Clover and Damien Martin. You know, Damien, the captain of the Wildcats.
That was a pretty incredible house.
Yeah, incredible house in Mandurah. Mindarah's been a bit of a tough area the last little bit. That sold in excess of $2 million prior to auction. That's to me, that's a spectacular bit of information. But all in all, the market was number-wise, almost, in fact, identical by one. Just that sold prior to increase. So, really good. And next year, the numbers are going to boom because Shane's going to become a number one auction agent.
Well, Shane, what are you looking forward to in January?
We've got a few coming to market in January. So, it's really interesting to talk about this. So, everything I've got that's, I guess, 500-600 plus, we have no hesitation pushing the button around Christmas time or in the very early New Year.
Okay.
Because typically in that end, you've either bought or sold, you need to act because potentially end of January you're homeless. But anything, I guess, sub that median house price, we're saying to our owners, look, our potential market is either renting or living with mum and dad. They're probably not going to be that active. So we're suggesting to push that, late January.
Yep.
Right, okay.
But if you look at the numbers, when you talk about things selling prior to auction, even if there was the same amount of buyers out there in the marketplace, there's not the same amount of stock this year. It's gone from 17,000 to 14,000. Pure and simply, that creates competition. And rents are starting to, we've spoken of this before, they're going up. They actually are going up in many suburbs. People are going, you know what, interest rates like this, we may as well act. So those three things, I think it's positive side.
Yeah, I think it's like I think we've seen a shift. Like to me, there's two types of markets. People talk about boom, bust, and other things. To me, there's two markets: there's buyer versus buyer, or seller versus seller. And that is obviously buyer versus buyer when we've got more buyers than we have sellers, and seller versus seller when we've got more sellers than we do have buyers. And we've obviously been in a seller versus seller market for some time where the sellers had to compete against themselves to capture the small buyer pool that's been there. I think we've seen a bit of a swing, sound like a political commentary here. We've seen a swing from left to right, more into a bit of a buyer versus buyer market, which is exactly, as stock dries up, the buyer pool's there, a bit of pressure, the pressure falls back on the buyers to perform. And away we go.
I don't think there'd be an agent in Perth that wouldn't agree with this. Well, I think anyway. But if you could wipe the slate the last few years and take out the negative equity situation and say, how's the current market? You'd take it every day of the week. I think it's a really healthy market for both buyers and sellers.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Very healthy. Healthy is a great word, Shane. Yeah, it's healthy.
Beautiful. Well, that rolls us straight into the real press, guys.
Yeah.
I have Real Press, we're taking a look at a property article we've seen this week. We want to decipher it and tell everyone what it might mean. We're looking this week at the West's Real Estate Roundup of a mammoth year. So in this article, they've spoken to a couple of experts, including Damien Collins, REWA president, and they're talking about some of the key moments that have affected the property industry this year: low interest rates, plenty of new infrastructure projects like we talked about last week. I guess looking at this, if you guys had to give this year a grade, A, B, C, what would you give it? 2019.
I tell you what, we'll separate it the first half year and the second half.
I think it's a very good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I think the first half the very pre-election, I think we had a 5 or a 6.
Yep.
Post-election, we went back to about a 3. And then in the latter part, the last quarter, we've probably gone up to about a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, again, with markets being within markets, but I would have said probably a 4. And I think intent and where prices are starting to reach, I would say a 6, the latter half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like Shane's school reports.
Yeah. No, that was C. C.
Shane wanted to go in A, B's and C, so what's a 6? A C? B plus?
That's
B?
all I usually got a C, so yeah, I'd take a C, yeah.
Okay. And what about next year? What are we marking?
Well, I can split that again.
Yeah. Well, I think before we grade that, I think we look at a few indicators, Jess, that are popping up that sort of, let's face it, the real estate market is a confidence-driven market at the end of the day. And confidence comes out from a whole heap of things. But one of the key indicators we look for is to say what's going on economically that sort of does stimulate and finally trickle through from the confidence factor. Yesterday in the Financial Review, there were some really, really good articles in there around what's going on. It's interesting, across the board in Australia, retail is up 0.6%, which is a great result. Black Friday, which was 2 weeks ago,
crazy.
Across Australia, Black Friday spend was up 45% on the same day last year.
Really?
That is phenomenal.
Huge.
Then you look at Australians expected to spend between 26th of December and the 16th of January, they're expected to spend $19 billion on sales and retail, which is up 2.8% on last year. You look at a couple of other things that now retail spend is very important because people start spending when they're confident, with employment and their income is secured. The other thing from a macro point of view, you look at iron ore, and iron ore is a really important indicator for us. Obviously, the prices, I think it peaked out about $109 US a tonne about 2 or 3 months ago, but that was driven when Brazil went offline because all the iron ore mines in Brazil got flooded, so it was Reliance came back here. But why that's important is it represents about $281 billion, which from a GDP point of view, now Australia has a GDP of about 1.8 trillion. So it represents sort of about 9% of the total GDP of Australia, which is phenomenal. But coming back into a West Australian point of view, you notice the government the other day released the budget, and we're about $2.8 billion surplus, and $1 billion of that has been created by the high iron ore price, which they didn't account for. Now that iron ore will come back next year as Brazil and those places come back online, but you've got to remember at the same time production has come back to about $26, $27 US a tonne, which came out of the mining collapse. So the mining companies are massively profitable. Next year, a good mate of mine, he's got a labour hire company, and they've got a terminology. They say how many boots on ground. That's how their KPI, if you like. And he's working out how he can get enough people to put enough boots on ground for the contracts that are coming through next year. Now I'm not saying we're going to a boom market, but these things are important indicators that I don't think people talk about enough.
Okay.
The West typically, any media, it's either boom or bust. No one says this is all okay because it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
But what I do know is the amount of inquiry we're getting at the moment from people that are moving back to WA, and they're not quite ready yet, but buying a property with intent to move, I've definitely seen that spike. We had a bit of a spike with investors doing that. Yeah. I'd say earlier in the year, as actually probably about 12 months ago, as the Sydney market cooled and they were looking for good value. Their market kicked again, so it slowed down. But now actual owner-occupiers looking to relocate back, expats in essence.
And I'll tell you, look at the city markets are really interesting indicator because the city market's been a bit of a bloodbath for a while. I was talking to Brad Triplett the other day, who works for Real Market in the city, and he does a lot of volume through there. And he was saying at the moment they just basically can't get enough stock. He's having his best December, he believes, ever.
Really?
And the 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom stock is just
He's got
you couldn't give away a year ago.
I saw he had a lot of the Key Start shared equity stuff.
Yeah.
Has he seen that being taken up?
Yeah, it had a run a while ago. Now people are just saying, don't worry about the share, we just want to buy it.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
cool.
So which is good.
Yeah.
So
I want a grade from you guys for next year.
overall, what do you want, number or
I want an A, B, C, or D.
I'm going probably B.
Okay,
B.
good.
B to B plus.
So we're going from a C to a B. That's a good improvement.
Yeah.
Gets out of maths
All
and
right.
practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks,
Is that
gents.
okay, Lana?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Sound machine, so I had
I know. Where's it?
It's been a real silence.
I know. I'm just waiting for the.
Look out, David Kosh, I say.
Kosh
All
is
right.
gone.
Is he?
He's so yesterday.
Oh, I only watch Netflix, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, so Hood Highlight. We're into our Hood Highlight. Now, we've been focusing a lot on Perth Metro lately, but this week we wanted to go somewhere festive. And I thought, is there anywhere more festive than Mandurah? The Mandurah Canals over
Not at this
Christmas.
time of year.
No, you come down the Mandurah Canals on a gondola with your hat on.
I
You're
know.
good.
Yeah. that pirate shit.
Yeah, the fire. I me hearties.
I don't mind making a fool of myself. We've already done it this week on camera, so you're right. So today we're welcoming Theo Alexandrou from Harcourts Mandurah. Theo was actually our first ever agent request as well on Facebook. So we do listen. Come on down.
Come on down, Theo. Yeah.
So Theo is one of the top selling agents in Mandurah. He's sold 57 properties this year. So who better to tell us all about the market down there? Theo.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Welcome on board. Now, before we started filming, we were talking about Mandurah as a holiday destination versus Mandurah as an extension of the metro area.
Yeah, sure.
And whether this time of year kind of brings a lot more people down. So
Yeah, and it definitely does. We see the March quarter this year for 2019, we saw an increase in tourism, so day trippers to Mandurah, a spike on the year before of 54% increase on day trippers to Mandurah, which is a lot. 20% increase on international tourism in that quarter also. So I think Mandurah's really come up on the map for people. It's not just somewhere, sleepy town hidden away anymore. Over the past few years, people have really, I think, seen the infrastructure that's gone into the area, the redevelopment of the foreshore there, and the waterways.
Yeah.
People, a lot more tourism.
what else is so Mandurah Forum?
Yep.
The sports centre, the rec centre is another
Correct.
big one.
Yep. And then also the actual main foreshore redevelopment. So I don't know if you've when the last time was you guys got down there, but it looks fantastic. The bridge.
The bridge is fantastic. Yeah.
It's just kind of integrated. It's just really pulled the whole city together almost. So they've extended, they put a lot more width onto the foreshore, the grass area. So really kind of around family, driving people to that city centre, which I think helps as well.
Have you seen a shift in the type of people inquiring on property, Theo?
Yes, yeah. We're seeing a lot of people. I think now they're seeing that the market is definitely, as we know, the past few years, it has come back slightly. So I think a lot of people are using this time now to get into the market in the way of first home buyers. They're seeing that there's good value, interest rates. Obviously, what's going to be coming up next year, first home buyers driving those into the market, hopefully. And then also a lot of people using this time to upgrade. I think they notice that the $1 million homes, anything really 500 plus, up to $1 million is now very affordable, probably more affordable than ever.
Even the canals, the value you can get down there is just incredible.
It truly is exceptional to have that lifestyle. And that's what I feel when people buy in Mandurah, they're buying a lifestyle. They're not just buying a home. So you can get anywhere, really, we're surrounded by waterways. So you can get onto the beachfront, the canal, near the estuary, anywhere around there. Plenty of parks. The town itself, as I said, the CBD has just come alive. So many more restaurants opening, places to be and be around. So
We were talking last week with Sean about the new shopping centres with Karrinyup. They're no longer just shops; they're actually entertainment hubs.
Yeah,
So having something like that down there, I think for young families is fantastic.
Well, the renovation of the Mandurah Forum there is huge. If you look at any large shopping centre around Perth, the real estate around there is expensive. It turns over. So
Big Sephora.
What's that?
How do you know that?
It was on the news. Big Sephora. I know that. So
There you go.
What,
So-
tell me about the properties that are around the canals now. Is there a lot of, Shane talks a bit about negative equity and having people who can't kind of move on because of that. Is there a lot of that in those canals? Those properties, are they coming onto the market or are people holding them and waiting?
No, there is. We've seen a lot, I think, within, not so much the negative equity, I don't find in that price bracket.
Yeah.
I'm noticing that more so people may be caught out in that position who bought maybe, let's say 5-6 years ago. The banks were giving out loans, interest only for up to 5 years. That's now come around.
Yeah.
People are thinking, hang on, you need to now pay principal and interest. Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll move.
Yeah.
And they realise they're not in a position to do that.
Yeah.
So that's where I guess our role as agents, maybe guiding people more so, more than ever, around instead of just, let's get on the market, do this and see how we go. More of a plan of attack is, I think, much more or needed now more than ever.
Yeah.
So
one question with the canals down there, any coastal area, it's really important the orientation of properties.
yeah.
I guess south, north facing, how important is it down there?
Yeah, I always break it down when talking. So buyers will ask me that question quite often. And I'll always break it down. If you look at land value, so if we had a north-facing block, it's always going to fetch a premium as opposed to a south-west facing. So really, if you can get north, northeast, you're probably going to get a bit more of a premium.
Yeah.
However, there are some beautiful south-facing outlooks. All of the beach, beachfront properties, most are west-facing, northwest.
Yeah.
So there are a few spots around Mandurah that will give you a north-facing beachfront. We have one that's going to market in January, and I think they'll get a bit of a premium just because it's probably a handful, maybe 3-4 places where you can actually get true north-facing, looking straight down the coast.
It's interesting that if you have north facing, it'll be in the first, I guess, paragraph.
Well,
if you're
always.
south, you
It's
just
your catch line, isn't it?
mention the trade.
Drops off.
Yeah.
Tell me about the different, we obviously have been talking on this show about the different markets here in Perth. Is that the same? We're talking about the canals a lot, but there's lots of little suburbs
Absolutely.
around. Mandurah's not just Mandurah.
No.
So is that the same as well? Are there kind of different markets within?
There is. So there's really maybe around 16 suburbs which actually make up the whole Mandurah area. So each one of those, again, I see as different lifestyles. So we have acreage properties. You can buy 5 acres, the canals. And so again, that's a different market. A lot of units, townhouses, villas all around that kind of central Mandurah CBD. So there's a wide array of different lifestyles to choose from, and each one of them have a different. So at the moment, you'll probably notice, as I say, that higher end turning over quite well. Quite fortunate to deal in that kind of price bracket. We then have lower end properties. Maybe you can buy villas for 150 up to kind of 250, 300. But where the downward pressure on there is, you can also now buy a home, a green title home for maybe 300, maybe a bit less. So it's put a downward pressure onto the villas that were maybe once 250 themselves. So it's definitely affordability in that area and different markets. So that is going to attract a different buyer. Those buyers maybe that are looking for more affordability tend to not be issues with finances, but maybe more involved with finances, maybe haven't done the research with their broker beforehand to see what it takes. Whereas maybe people who are in the prior high price bracket, more educated buyers know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you say, Theo. Jess, we've spoken before about sort of this commentary that tends to get out there about, they talk about Perth. And we've said, Perth is not one market. Perth is postcode 6,000.
Yeah.
And there is however many different markets around Perth, and we think that there should be a lot more commentary segmenting the different markets, within Perth and what's happening here at north, south, east, west, and postcode driven in particular. And Theo's, what you're saying is so important. And as a professional area to have intelligent commentary on an area, I think it's really important that we do that. We segment areas into, you said, how many, Mark, you say?
There's about 16 suburbs
16 suburbs, 16 micro markets that make up Mandurah.
Yeah.
And I think that's just such an important way we must look at real estate commentary moving forward.
I think what makes that, almost what makes it difficult in some ways, is that buyers now are kind of location ambiguous. They've got a really good option because the way the prices are, you can almost buy into budget, no longer really dictates where you can buy, almost. So they can look at a wider range of suburbs to buy into, getting more bang for their buck, I guess. So, but when you break it down with buyers, as you mentioned, so, okay, you want a 4-bed, 2-bathroom home on a minimum square metre size of land with a pool. They say, there's lots on the market. You then break it down to what you're actually looking for. There's not a great deal to choose from that has those requirements. So they've
It's
got to
funny
be
because
prepared.
in Perth, I feel like your buyers, if they're looking to move within some pretty specific suburbs.
Yeah.
Would you say? Whereas it sounds like what you're saying is they're not that specific about.
I think under 400,
Yeah.
sometimes it'll be, I just need to be close to infrastructure.
Yeah, okay.
I need green title.
Yeah.
Once you get sort of your better school names,
Yeah.
without a doubt, it starts to become a bigger factor.
Yeah,
little bit of
absolutely.
outcome.
Schools drive that, absolutely.
Awesome.
You find the school zoning thing really strong in Mandurah like it is in Perth, the CBD, the wider metro area?
It makes a difference,
Yeah.
but we have a lot of good schools, and Mandurah, in, I guess, not a small area, but within the Mandurah area, there's a few dotted around between north and south. So there's a couple of good schools in the northern corridor and the southern corridor. We're also seeing new primary schools just being built as well, to then as a feeder school to one of the better schools in that northern corridor. So, yeah, it definitely helps, absolutely. And that's where I think you get the divide north and south. If families will look, okay, they want to get into, let's say, Frederick Owen in the northern corridor, they want to be looking at those northern suburbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In closing, I guess, what would you say is hot and what's not?
Again,
What
it's,
could you love? If someone rang you today as an appraisal, what would you hope it would be?
Ideal house to sell.
really that price bracket at the
Other
moment.
than motivated.
No, well, anything waterfront seems to be turning over.
Okay.
Motivated waterfront's better, but so no, anything waterfront
6 million range would be perfect.
is moving.
Sweet.
And toughest, would you say, would be those units?
The units, just because of the sheer volume of what's on the market there. That's what, there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah. So good value, that section.
Absolutely. If you're looking to invest in that marketplace, it's against building, or even if you were looking to develop and say build a few units, where there's a lot of that available in Mandurah, you could pick up 3 units fairly affordable today. So anything really waterfront or close to the water is pretty special at the moment, and it seems to be turning over. But even just around that 500 bracket as well, because that was maybe once a bit more expensive.
Awesome. Roscoe, we're over to you to get to know Theo a little bit better.
Theo, this is actually
Truth is chops.
this is the most important segment of the show. Actually, we consider it.
Ross says anything about
I
himself.
didn't
is
bring
the
you any
most important
tzatziki or
Yeah,
no
that's
lamb
it.
shoulder.
That's him, mate. See, he's onto it. He's onto it. Okay, they did accuse me of going to Brick, a restaurant once, and we can now speak fluent Greek. I know 2 Greek words, but
can read the menu.
I better not use them on.
He knows tzatziki
I had
and
one last week, I've forgotten it.
Okay, so Theo, this is the Get to Know Theo questionnaire.
Sure.
Okay, so we all know that sometimes our greatest learnings in life come from our biggest mistakes or out of adversity. So we like to call them stuff-ups.
Yep.
What do you think your biggest stuff-up has been that you've learnt from?
Stuff up. There's probably one that comes to mind when I first started. So in my first kind of 12 months within the industry, I was out with some buyers, just showing houses as you do. Maybe went through 4 or 5 properties, gave them a file with brochures in. They weren't ready to make a decision on the spot. They wanted to go for a drive home first, have a bit of a chat. No worries at all. They're driving home. They live about 45 minutes away from Mandurah in Jarrahdale. So I said, fine. They went off. I put the last house we were at, which was the one.
There.
Yeah, that's it. I felt that was the home that they really liked, the last one we were at. So I pushed the button on the back of the door, sent them off, locked everything up, go back to the office, couldn't find the key for that house. It was actually in the file. So they've driven away with the key, and
did they buy the house?
So I rang them. I said, guys, I hate to do this. I think you might have the key for this property. They said, yeah, we've just found it actually. We just got home, went through the files, and we found it. I said, okay, I'm going to come and get it from you. They said, yeah, do that. Where are you? That's when they told me they're in Jarrahdale. I thought, great. So I thought, if I'm driving out there, I'll just ask the question, what do you think of the houses? Yeah, that last one we were at, we quite liked. Okay, did you want me to bring an offer? I said, yeah, sure. So I went and got the key, got an offer as well, and the house sold. So,
So they got the keys on. Quick settlement.
So was it a stuff up?
It was. Jesse, there's a saying: out of adversity becomes opportunity. The greater the adversity, the greater opportunity.
Well, that's exactly it.
making
So but
lemonade
just
out of
make sure you
lemons.
keep hold of the keys until settlement.
Mate, I'd be doing that scam every time.
That's a great idea.
So, what are the 3 things that you wouldn't leave home without? 3 things you go, I just cannot leave home without them.
3 things. Probably my AirPods. And then in conjunction with that is your phone, obviously. So it goes everywhere. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, you working today? Is it your day off?" So I've got my phone with me, don't I? That's basically it.
Yeah.
The AirPods just make it easy on the go, and then again, kind of going with those two is my pen.
Yeah.
So as long as you've got your pen in your pocket, I think you're ready to do business.
I think Husey said almost the same things last week. Phone and the pen.
He said a bloody pocket square.
And pocket square. You gotta have the
I'm not as
square, mate.
flash as you.
Yeah, mate, I've got to get some AirPods because of some photos from this show. They'll put up there with my earphones with the wires to the thing. And Lachlan Sinclair saw them and just, I got abused uphill. He's such an old man.
Alana's
They
banned
are,
them from
other
our
than the
office.
phone, that's the greatest invention ever.
That's true.
All my kids have got them. I can't afford to buy
I
them.
think the greatest invention ever is those little
What?
stickers that people have been sticking on the floor
Oh, yes.
of an earbud.
Yeah.
People walk
whatever
around
the
them
hell
without
they're
even
called.
talking.
If you get them
so
your,
you like the
if
old
you
school
get them your
ones,
skin
Alana?
colour,
Ultimate wanker alert.
So you like old school? So Alana, am I okay with my old school things?
what do you call a group of wankers then if we've got
Real estate
AirPods?
agent.
Good question.
Oh, shit. We're live.
Next question.
Well, that's one of
Doesn't
my
like the
Greek
answer.
words, malaka.
Yeah.
We're going in a
I'm
good
glad you
direction.
said it.
Well, he said it. Well, she said it. Okay, what's your worst habit? Look, mate, you're such a clean-cut guy. You're such a professional. I don't know if this guy will have any bad habits, but, mate, is there one?
Gets to lock up houses.
Yeah, if he gets to lock up houses.
The house was secure.
See?
Just didn't know where the key was.
Yeah.
Habits. No,
See? I knew it.
the one thing that I think when I'm on the go, 110 miles per hour as we do, I might give Emma a call. So
I was going to say,
Emma,
we should ask Emma.
yeah. So Emma, I can't call her my assistant. She's also my partner. I get in trouble.
Mate, that's a very fine line.
But
you're
we work
treading down.
together.
You're her assistant. just for the record.
Yeah, that pretty much, yeah. She's the boss. So if I'm going 100 miles per hour, I might give Emma a call. We'll be chatting in the office as I duck past and say, can you please send that thing to that lady, from that house? And she just looks at me and says,
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm just, in my head, I know.
Yeah, can you send the who's and what's it to what's
Exactly.
her name?
That's
Emma, is that
probably,
really-
They
His
don't.
worst
He said,
habit?
why didn't you do it?
yeah, you must have known.
So annoying.
Annoying now.
Probably asked. We should have asked. Well, actually, why don't we ask the question
Yeah.
to her?
Yeah, Emma, what is Theo's worst habit?
No.
That is it.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
We,
Who invited
we
her?
have on film the embryonic stages of a domestic.
We
Long
got,
drive back
Merry
to
Christmas,
Mandurah.
guys.
Yeah. We'll call you an Uber, mate. You'll need it.
Yeah.
Okay. Mate, when you're not at work, where are we most likely to find you? What would you be doing outside of the day-to-day real estate?
usually any chance I get, whether it's just after hours and you finish up for the day, especially nowadays in the summer months, it's beautiful. Just grab the dog, get to the beach. So it just clears the mind a little bit, whether that's, if you do get the odd day off or just like say in the morning even, once you go into the gym, then go and walk the dog, just sets you up for the day.
You
I
don't
think.
walk the
That
dog
man's
with your
a
phone, do you?
lifestyle.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Do you not?
Yeah.
Mate, no.
And the AirPods. It's
I'm walking.
I have to disconnect from
I'm
my
walking
phone.
into poles, walking the dog.
Shane's recording his stories for the day.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
I wish I could be like you, Ross.
I have to teach
In every
you guys.
facet of the word, I wish I could be like
I have to teach you a few things,
he
mate.
remembers the time when there's no phones though,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he's thinking it's easy.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Now he's having a dig at me. Right, you're gone, mate. Okay, we've all got sayings like, I'm not allowed to use green shoots anymore because I've been banned from
Green
saying
shoots.
green shoots, okay? So what's an overused saying that you hear that just grates you?
You should probably ask Emma this again. I only say this really to wind her up because I know it does, but she might say something to me and I'll just ask her, what's that got to do with the price of eggs? And she hates it every time. So, but that's about it, really. I don't have any
that's
go-to
fair.
That's
sayings.
cool. Mate, and being of a Greek heritage, mate, this question, it's, Jess tried to get Shane and I to drop this question, but we
I
believe
forgot which
should
one it
actually be
was
the
that he
first.
would.
this should be the first and most important question. Being
Okay.
English, Greek, all that, mate. What is your favourite meal, best restaurant, favourite meal in Perth, Mandurah?
Tell us about
Other
something
than
in
what your
Mandurah.
wife cooks.
Yeah, of
She's
course.
right there.
Yeah, offend anyone. So in Mandurah, usual hangout would usually be the Pen. Don't know if you guys have been there,
the
just
Pen,
on the
yeah.
waterfront there. It's beautiful. It got revamped maybe 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible spot. It's always busy. You always get a good feed. And they've got obviously the bar, bistro area, then the bistro restaurant area as well, which is great. Always good food. Always refreshing the menu. So
What's the go-to meal?
I like the beef cheek. It's pretty good.
Padamo,
Yeah.
Cheese is good.
Otherwise, the pizza in the bar is always good. So,
Beautiful.
always. But in general, I'm probably going to head away from Perth. In Dunsborough, I don't know if you've been to Yarrie.
Yarrie.
Absolutely, just
rock star.
the best.
Mate,
I was trying to
very
think
good.
if the CBD where is there, but I'm
Mate, see,
thinking
they've got a New Year thing on at Yarrie.
I saw.
I think $260 a head.
I got the email.
Degustation, mate, rock and roll.
Sounds
baby.
good to me.
Good bunch of people down there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I heard that
Sounds like a good
Alana's
vibe.
going to book
That's
out
right,
half the
yeah.
restaurant for Shane and I, and
That was
any
the
guests that have
Christmas
been on the,
party, yeah.
on
Ross
the
can't
show.
Get
go
the
one
invite.
episode without asking us to give him something.
Sponsorship.
Mate, the only free cheese is in the trap.
All right. Good work, mate. Good work.
Thanks, Theo. Well done, mate.
All right, thank you.
On you, Jess.
All right. Our final episode, Play of the Week. Shane,
Well, we've got a
Shane's
few.
got
we've got a
them
couple
this week.
Shane, do you want to kick us
Been a
off?
very interesting week in real estate. This week, so one of the local parks in the city of Gosnells was basically being revamped, and they had an input from the locals, just give them some, indications of what's going to happen. So what I did, being any good agent, spoke to the people who don't live in the area but own property there, because it will change values. Parks can change values. So I get a letter from typically I would expect from an absentee owner it's abuse, but I open it up and there's this letter that's hand typed with a bit of liquid paper here and there, which I'm sure you'll be able to put it up on the feed.
We will.
Saying that he couldn't get down there because he lived in Merredin, and he's not going to
Fair
come
drive.
down, and he's 90 years of age, so the monkey bars are not probably for him. In fact, he also said that he'd get bogged in his wheelchair. Him and his wife were in a wheelchair, so he couldn't use wheelchairs.
Classic.
But he said, but I take it upon you, Shane, to have 2 measly sausages on behalf of us. So if you see the letter, it's absolutely
Gold.
brilliant.
Everyone wants the
Bless you.
food, don't they?
Yeah. I
Bless
was reading
you.
it, just waiting to get abused, and he just kept going. So that was my
No
favourite week.
abuse.
No abuse.
Perfect.
No, yes, there are nice people out there, mate.
In Merredin.
In Merredin. I just about grew up in Merredin, mate.
Did ya? Where are you from?
Is there a pub there?
No, it's a big
Oh,
farm.
sorry.
Do you want it?
Just
See, she shut me down already.
sorry.
You and I are going to have words. Right.
all right. I've got 2 more plays of the week, and I've actually got 3 because I forgot. Shane, you get play of the week for being 6PR's caller of the week
Oh, yeah, I did. Thanks. Got the chockies.
again.
Did you, mate?
Yeah.
Legend.
So
Did
I
they
want to
send
ring
you
up. I only ring up
chocolates?
when I'm out of my period because they actually give you exclusion period that you will win it, but you can't win twice in 2 weeks. So I just wait for set the diary. I'm back in the game.
The only person on this planet under 70 who's excited to be
Me and Gareth
6PR's
Parker, who host the
caller of the week. Our other play of the week goes to Mark and Travis Grogan, who we have a little competition running on our Facebook page, and they got Dick Slider and
You mentioned on
my
our
cousin
first show.
Vlad, who have both been mentioned on this show before, to enter for them, which we thought was very, very good. Jump on our Facebook page if you want to have a look. It's quite funny. And the other ones were Dave and Greg, Dave Pickering and Greg Chapman, who again have already won a play of the week, which we will show. They were out at a house that they were listing. They were having their photo shoot during the week, and there was a old washing machine set up. I don't know if you guys saw this.
I did.
Attached to a bike. So Greg was sitting on the bike, riding the
We
bike,
ought to see
getting
the footage,
the
I'm
washing
sure,
machine.
somewhere.
We'll show you.
You can see how this works. Powered by idiot.
Those two, do you know those two remind me of? Mythbusters.
Oh, the guy with the beret on and all that. Yeah.
I swear to
They're
God.
very good. If you're after a bit of a laugh, they give us a bit of a laugh in the office, those guys. That is it.
That's done.
That's
Good.
it. That's it for us for the year. We need to thank our friends and our sponsors, Domain, Hire and Property Styling, who have done for the 5th time.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
So cool there, she hiding. They've put us up in their office every Friday. They have to put up with us for the hour that we're here. They put together these beautiful sets. Absolutely wonderful job. If you are looking for a supplier to style your home, get in touch because they have some beautiful stock on the floor. Theo, thank you so much for your time today
all right.
for
Well
the
done, mate.
drive.
Thanks for having
Good
me.
stuff.
And enjoy your holiday.
You too.
Shane, Roscoe, thanks for putting up with me, just ripping into you every week. I love you guys.
Yeah.
Getting thicker skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Our crew behind the scenes, well done. Great year. We're looking forward to a big year in 2020. Comment, share, like, let us know what you think, and we will see you back in February 2020. Thank you.
Perfect. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.